Hello everyone, this is Fantasy-esque and welcome back to Lakeburg Legacies. When we left off in the previous episode, we welcomed in a carpenter by the name of Margaret Taylor and her husband, the rat trainer, Oliver Pembroke, who was initially called Victorin, but I changed his name to Oliver off camera. So this is our newest couple. They don't have, from what I remember, the best chemistry. I think, yeah, they don't, their affinity is just really bad. Hold on a second, let's check up on the house. From what I remember, the affinity is not that great. Yeah, it is bad. But apparently, when Margaret brushes Margaret's hand, they both quiver with delight. I don't know, it says Margaret and Margaret got married. The game is confused, but I assure you Margaret did not marry herself, she married Oliver. So I don't know who's brushing the hand and who's quivering with delight, but hey, it seems as though, for now, there seems to be some attraction. Even though affinity is bad, there seems to be some attraction between the two of them. I mean, they're close in age, it's great. So there is that. We do have some age ups that we want to try and sort through. I think also in the last episode, we had a wedding between, who was it? Someone got married. It was some of our Lakeburg children. Yes, so Eloise established her own household, which is really cute. You know, her mother, I think the original baker we had, and her father, the original mason we had. They have their own home, obviously. I don't think they will have any kids in the future, like anymore, because they're quite up there in age. But Eloise, you know, she's continued the Bonnet family name and family bloodline. She's now established her own house. She got married with Chris from the Olwen family, the most beautiful man in Lakeburg, according to Lakeburg standards. So things are going well for her, and I'm actually really happy that life is panning out wonderfully. For I think she was the first girl born in Lakeburg. So yeah, that's a bit of an accomplishment, So okay, let's go ahead and see what we can get done. I think we had a few age ups over here. Okay, with Eloise, she's currently unemployed, but I think we're saving up, or we're trying to get more resources for... You know what? Eloise is actually such a success story if you think about it, because her relationship with her father is like perfect. Her relationship with her mother is perfect. Her relationship with her husband is excellent. So she's actually got like a really wholesome kind of family life going on. She's one of our like success stories if you think about it. But that aside, what I was trying to say is that we're saving up to make her a baker, I think. Yeah, she wants to be a baker. We don't have enough resources. But I think we might have to wait a little bit longer because there are some other places we can assign those resources. So hold on a second. So there was that with Eloise, and then Sapphire is now 12 years old, but unfortunately she still has lofty aspirations, so there is nowhere we can apprentice her, unfortunately. And then Bruce became a 6-year-old, so he can now apprentice somewhere. Adorable little Bruce. He wants to be a baker. I feel like being the baker's apprentice is actually very popular. So luckily for him, Marie has actually a slot. Now that her daughter is, you know, a young adult, she's not training her anymore. So Bruce is actually going to become Marie's second apprentice, which is wonderful. So I'm excited for Bruce. He gets to live out his baking dreams. And then for Christoph, who wanted to become a mason. I think we have enough resources. We do, to open up a slot over here, which is, I think, a good investment long term because we do need more stone. So let's go ahead, get Christoph working as a mason. Hopefully he gets along with his colleagues and maybe improves the ambience a little bit. But yeah, ambience is bad. Because, like, Brynja and Chris are besties, basically the dynamic happening at the Mason's Workshop. Brynja and Chris were mentor and apprentice, they're besties, but Theodora is rivals with, like, the both of them, so the overall ambience is bad, and I suppose now Christoph might determine whether things improve or not. So, okay, good for them, and I think that was all in terms of changes to our characters that we have. So at this point, we're kind of just gathering resources, like we're waiting around gathering resources and seeing what other changes happen. So let's, oh my goodness, hold on a second. At 42, our seamstress passed away. Hold on a second, Arik has died from frailty. Arik Aberg's frail constitution was always the source of concern, and his early demise was no surprise to anyone, except perhaps to himself. Death claimed him so suddenly that he probably didn't have time to notice what was happening. Oh my goodness, Arik has died from frailty. Hold on a second. So yeah, we have lost some prestige because we don't have a sovereign, and then Arik died. Now, Arik was married to Raimonda. Raimonda has outlived, well, not in every case outlived, actually. She's outlived 3 husbands. 3 husbands, guys. She's 51. She's quite youthful. We've had a lot of our ladies like start graying by the time they reach their 40s. She's 51 and she still hasn't started graying. Also, Hubert is old now at 46. The life stresses must be getting to him, but oh my goodness, Raimonda. Raimonda is like absolute evil in my head. Like, she's got the evilest personality, and she is always causing fights, doesn't get along with anyone, has very difficult relationships with her husbands, but somehow all of her husbands have ended up dying. She's outlived all of them. Wow. Okay, well, we don't have any options for Colette or Raimonda right now, so they're gonna have to stay single. But we also now have an opening in the sewing workshop. I don't think we had any seamsters. I think Eloise just wanted to be a baker and that's it. Yeah, so we don't have any potential seamsters. Okay, well, let's keep going. See what else is happening in town. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see. At this point, guys, I'm kind of overlooking like the loveless marriages and the like infatuations, because I feel like they tend to happen a lot, and it's basically just, you know, couples having a bump in their relationship. So in terms of their relationship status, I'm not really paying attention to that. I'm more paying attention to like rivalries that develop between the characters, because they happen less often, and friendships that develop. So in this case, we do have Oliver and Eloise. So Oliver and Eloise. Oliver is the new rat trainer. He and Eloise made a bad impression on each other, and they don't like each other. Right. Huh. You know what? I could kind of see maybe, because Eloise, she's trained at the bakery and she is now waiting for, obviously, the bakery to expand so that she can start working as a baker alongside her mother. In the meantime, I imagine she goes back to visit her mother a lot, and maybe she feels like the rat trainer isn't doing a good enough job keeping the infestation at bay, because maybe the rats are, you know, affecting the bakery in some way. Or it could just be that Eloise is being paranoid, because even though Eloise has the perfect relationship with her immediate family, she has like problems with a lot of other people in town, or, you know, youngsters mainly. But I could kind of see that being the case. Like, I feel like she's fussy. She gives me a fussy sort of vibe. But we still don't have enough stone right now to be able to expand the bakery. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, hold on. So what is happening here? Marie and Emmerich are frustrated. Marie and Emmerich. They're both bakers, aren't they? So Emmerich is the 3rd baker that we have. Emmerich is the 3rd baker we have at the bakery, and the newest baker, I think. So they're frustrated with each other. What is their... Do they get along or not? They don't. Okay, so... Yeah, Emmerich and Marie don't get along with each other. Oh look, now Raimonda started graying. And funnily enough, even though Marie and Raimonda had like... I mean, they're sworn enemies, to be honest. I was gonna say, their affinity is average? They might have mellowed out in their old age, but no. Yeah, they're sworn enemies. But she doesn't get along too well with Emmerich either, unfortunately. Maybe the newer generation. She'll get along well with the newer generation, but Okay, she and Emmerich for some reason are frustrated at each other. Good to know. So there's like increased rivalry at the bakery. And you know what I'm curious about? I'm actually... Oh! Oh! Okay, hold on a second. You know, I almost wonder, because we know that Emelina had like a brief affair with Valerius, who works at the prank shop behind the pleasure house. I wonder if, you know, some rumors floated down to Marie somehow, and Marie maybe thought that it would be kind of her to tell Emmerich that something untoward is happening with his wife, or, you know, his wife is maybe being unfaithful. And Emmerich, he has always known about Emelina's career from the get-go, and maybe he personally feels like being overly jealous or doubting Emelina is not going to help their relationship, because he knows the kind of work that she does, right? It's not going to be healthy for their relationship to kind of overly focus on that. And he's made peace with that. But Marie was telling him that, you know, beyond her job, this is like a personal thing, but we've kind of heard rumors that maybe she is getting a little bit too close and personal with someone outside of her job. And Emmerich was unwilling to believe that, and he was getting frustrated because he couldn't understand why Marie was kind of prying into his personal life. But then maybe he went back and confronted Emelina about it, and it kind of came out that yes, Emelina did cheat on him outside of her job. And I think he decided he could not accept that. And oh my goodness, now they're having a divorce. Oh my goodness. Okay, so those two are divorced now. Those two are divorced. Okay, hold on. And then I can see Marie getting frustrated at Emmerich because he wasn't believing her. Okay. So we might have the opportunity, since Emmerich and Emelina have broken up, to put together one of the other ladies with him. I don't know, but Colette is going to ask him on a date. I mean, there's a 20-year gap between them, because Colette's 55, a farmer, and Emmerich is a 33-year-old baker, but Colette's going to have a go at him. Let's see if it works out for her. Obviously, the match is going to be awful right now because Emmerich is divorced and heartbroken, and he's also got a terrible personality, apparently. But let's see how this goes. Sometimes they get together out of, I don't know, convenience, necessity, and if Emmerich has a chance of not being on the streets, I think he'd prefer not being on the streets. So let's see how this goes. We're going to send them off on a date. So they're going to start off at the inn. We could talk about the kittens in the neighborhood or the importance of money. We're going to talk about the importance of money. Emmerich agrees money can't buy happiness, but it allows buying things that make people happy. Okay, we're going to go to the lake next and have a boat ride. We could criticize the work of the realm's best painter or talk about the sufferings of war. We're going to talk about the sufferings of war. Slaughtered populations, ravaged villages, nothing good grows from war. And the date is going so well that Colette and Emmerich are discussing marriage almost immediately. So basically, I kind of get the idea that Emmerich, he was unwilling to put up with cheating from his, you know, beautiful wife, yes, but still, his wife. He wasn't willing to put up with cheating from her. And he basically walked out of the marriage telling Emelina that I will find someone who is more stable than you. And, you know, I am not going to put myself kind of at risk by leaving you and being on the streets. Like, I am good enough that I can find someone really quickly and find someone better than you really quickly. So I think that's what's happened over here. He has accepted the advances from Colette because maybe he feels as though Colette, you know, as a farmer is a bit more of a stable choice. So, okay. They are now going to get married. Colette and Emmerich. So go ahead, get them married. Right now it's an awful affinity, but, you know, they're infatuated. They're infatuated for now. So we'll see how that relationship goes. Okay. And now Emelina and Raimonda are single. Let's see if we can do some bartering. Yes, give us that gold. We want the gold. Thank you. Well, let's keep going and see what's going on in town. Okay, hold on. Brynja and Eloise. Oh, look at that. Father and daughter have a really good relationship. So Brynja and Eloise, They're loved ones. They're very close. That makes me happy. Oh, what's happening? What's happening? Okay, words of love. Emelina was bored, but in a mood of passion. However, not seeing anyone to her liking and finding it frustrating, she decided to write anonymous letters to expose her feelings and distribute them randomly around the neighborhood. What could she write in these letters? So she's 31 years old, a lady of the evening, just recently got divorced, is now single, and her ex has really quickly remarried. She could write some dirty words. So all the villagers will get the charm traits, but she'll get the romantic trait, or some nice words. So all the villagers will get the inspired trait, she'll get the kind trait. I think I'll go for something a bit more risque. I'll go with the dirty words. If the goal is to have some fun while exposing frustrations, let's go all the way. Emelina's letters evoked some steamy passion. The sensuality soon stirred both hearts and minds, and everyone started wondering if the neighbors were as innocent as they seemed to be. Hot, hot, hot. Okay, well she's I think feeling quite happy about herself right now. Good on you, Emelina, good on you. I think that's all I'm noticing over here right now. The Morrow family. I know the Morrow family want to have another child, but guys, Nathan is 16 years old. You only have to wait like 2 more years. Actually, how are they going in terms of... Hold on a second. Like, what are their chances of having a kid? Insignificant. 2%. It's not that bad. They might still have like a teeny tiny chance after Nathan kind of moves out of the house. So it's fine. The other family I wanted to check up on is our newest couple to get together. In the Taylor family, like, how are they going? Okay, hold on. So Oliver is fed up with Margaret for never paying for anything. Okay, maybe he feels as though she's a carpenter. She probably earns more than him as a rat trainer. She should go ahead and, spend more money on stuff, but he kind of does. Oliver can't let go of Margaret's scarf. He finds it scent comforting, but so even though he's upset at her, like, he's becoming attached to her. Okay. Margaret and Oliver shared a really interesting discussion. Oliver is wearing Margaret's shirts, but then they've been having, despite the attachment, things haven't been going very well for them. It turns out that Oliver went on their first date with Margaret to win a bet, and Margaret agreed because of a dare. Margaret came back all mudded. She'll get the whole house dirty. Oliver cries quite often these days. Margaret doesn't know what to do to comfort him. Oh my goodness. I think that it seems as though Margaret feels like since she's the head of the household, Oliver should pick up more slack and do more things. So it's not really kind of equal distribution of tasks in the family. And I think that Oliver is finding that a little bit irritating because Margaret sometimes takes it too far and, she comes back all muddy and she doesn't clean up because she kind of feels like Oliver owes her for having a roof over his head. And maybe that plus with the work that he does, it's kind of stressful. He's surrounded by rats all day, keeping the plague at bay. And so he's always crying, and Margaret, I don't think, is close enough to him to try and figure out his moods and how to comfort him. It's just all around a bit of a mess. And it seems like overall their relationship has been getting worse. So I'm not sure they might end up in a divorce, guys. If things don't improve, they might end up getting divorced. Okay, well, let's see if we have enough resources maybe now to get Marie that job at the bakery. Let's see if we can open up. Yes, we can open up a baking slot. So, sorry, Eloise, not Marie. Eloise is now working at the bakery, which is wonderful, so we can churn out even more bread. Excellent, excellent. And then, so doing okay over here. We can do a recruitment. So let's actually do a recruitment and see what we might be able to get. Oh, okay, hold on. So Carla and, Evrad. Is Evrad one of our seamsters? Hold on a second. Okay, so Carla and Evrad, the 2 seamsters we have, they made a bad impression on each other. They don't like each other so much. Okay, good to know, good to know. Well, yeah, we also have a vacancy in the sewing workshop now because of the recent death that's happened. Let's go ahead and do some recruitment, shall we? Let's take a look. So we have Eldrick, who's 25 years old, of the peasant class. He can be a mason, hunter, or lumberjack. We do have, I think, an empty slot for a hunter, so that would help. And then we have Honorine Lambert, 20 years old, of the artisan class. She can be a bard, teacher, or lady of the evening. We actually don't have any slots for that, so I think it's going to be better for us to take Eldrick. So let's recruit Eldrick. We'll grab Eldrick, and he is going to join us in the hunter's cabin. Yeah, Eldrick, you're going to join us in the hunter's cabin. Let's throw you in here. Wonderful, helping us gather all that meat and all the leather that we use. Excellent. And let's see. Eldrick Waldener. I mean, the last names for the males don't matter because they don't pass on their last names. But let's see. Sabran? Okay, Eldrick Sabran. What kind of guy is he? He's a glutton, but he is rowdy and romantic. Okay, doesn't have any sort of traits to pass on genetically. In terms of his preferences, he likes painting, cuddles, the art of war, gossip, flowers, and then, he dislikes gossip, flowers, and silver and gold. He's a bit of a crafty guy. Okay, let's see if we can find him someone. Let's see if we can find him someone from outside of Lakeburg. Let's take a look. Okay, we have Esmeralda, who's got huge eyes. She's 25 years old, an artisan. They have average affinity. She's a strong woman, though. She's got all these good traits. She's proud, well-mannered, and aesthetic. Okay, she could be a night butcher innkeeper. Oh, great. If this ends up working out, she's going to be unemployed. She's not going to be helpful in any way. But she likes public executions, muscles, and treats. She dislikes divination, the countryside, and dueling. So let's go ahead and send them out on a date. Starting off at the inn, we could criticize Lakeburg's countryside, or say it's time to duel. We'll say it's time to duel. Wait, what? Esmeralda refuses to talk about such a degenerate hobby. Okay, we're going to the lake for a boat ride. We could say everyone knows that big muscles imply a small brain, or we could talk about attending the next public execution together. We're going to talk about the public execution. What a delightful idea. Esmeralda loves to boo and lapidate people all the more when they're guilty. Okay, and then we're going to go to the Hill by Moonlight. We could ask Esmeralda for opinion on divinatory pseudosciences, or we could denigrate Lakeburg's baker and his cloying treats. We'll go for the baker and his treats. Esmeralda thought about inviting Eldrick to share some delicious gingerbread. Never mind, it's his loss. Is it going to be a match? It's a match! Okay, they both have really round eyes, but hers are huge. They're going to be in a loveless marriage, but they have average affinity. It could go either way. Okay, so welcome, Esmeralda. Where is she? Esmeralda, where'd you go? Where'd you go, Esmeralda? Where is she? Okay, Esmeralda Durandal? I'm gonna change her last name. Cabrera? Coldwell. She can be Coldwell. Esmeralda Coldwell. Okay, do I even like that name? Coldwell? I don't think I do. Right. Curtis Ashendale. Do we have an Ashen? I feel like we have an Ashen. We have an Ashdown family, don't we? We don't have an Ashendale. Hold on. We have an Ashdown family. Yeah, we have an Ashdown family, not an Ashendale. Okay, this is going to be Esmeralda Ashendale. My goodness. She is going to get a house of her own. We do have enough wood for that, thank goodness. Esmeralda Ashendale. Esmeralda Ashendale. Welcome with your husband Eldrick. They have a 6% chance of having a child, so things are looking pretty decent for them right now. Unfortunately, she does not have anywhere she can currently work. Maybe in a few years, she's going to find that her potential or her interests are slightly changing. For now, though, that is where we are at. But okay, guys, with that said and done, I am going to leave off here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.